Now to at 10, News Channel 3 getting to the bottom of a burning question one Memphis man has been trying to answer for years. Why is Shelby County Juvenile Court forcing him to pay for a child that is not biologically his?
When it comes to 3-year-old Zaria, you are not.
Say what?
A man's lie is like, I was at Tony's house. I'm at Ken's house. That's a man's lie. A woman's lie is like, it's your baby.
So paternity fraud is much greater than most people realise.
Approximately between 10 and 12% we prove that the man who we test is not the father of the child.
On average, 1 in 10 children are not fathered by the man that appears on their birth certificate. But that figure fluctuates depending on which socioeconomic group you're in. So it goes down to about 1% of children in higher socioeconomic groups, and it can go up to about as high as 30% of children in lower socioeconomic groups.
In the US, about 10 million kids are being raised by men that think they're the fathers but are not. And in Britain, the figure's believed to be around 1 million children.
That means 1 in 20 children, or 1 in every class at school, is not fathered by the man who thinks he's the dad.
Look, if I was a man, and my wife has been on a trip to New York and she comes back and 6 months later she's pregnant, I'm going to DNA test.
There is a presumption in law that husbands are the fathers of children. That's the great presumption of British law. But I think when there's been any kind of anonymous research, statistically, it's incredibly striking. It's quite striking how many husbands are not the biological fathers of their children. And if you had a law where every mother was forced to tell, it could be a big can of worms, that.
The truth, on the whole, however painful and uncomfortable it is, works better for the human psyche. Deception erodes our confidence in our own judgment and our relationships with other people, and that always has destructive consequences, larger or smaller degrees.
No man ever knows for sure on leaving hospital with his wife and new child that the baby is his. If women were forced to endure this lack of certainty, they'll complain loudly about this terrible abuse of their rights. With such high rates of paternity fraud, DNA testing should be mandatory on the birth of a child, so that men can have the same certainty of parenthood that women enjoy.
A man should know. I think it comes down to a man should know. It's not necessarily about punishing the woman. It's about the knowledge. It's about giving the man full knowledge. And I guess the only way to do that is to have a paternity test at every pregnancy.
But the government will never make paternity testing routine. It's not interested if the wrong man is enslaved by a woman, and they don't care about the broken family that almost inevitably results. They just want some man, any man, to pay for the upbringing of that child.
Say what?
Now to at 10, News Channel 3 getting to the bottom of a burning question one Memphis man has been trying to answer for years. Why is Shelby County Juvenile Court forcing him to pay for a child that is not biologically his? What's even more unusual, he says the judges at Juvenile Court have an idea who the real father is.
Yet they're still demanding he pay up. Now he's turning to on-your-side investigator Stephanie Skurlock for help.
Talk show TV makes millions off the catchphrase, "You are not the father." But the reality in Memphis is just because you're not the daddy doesn't mean Shelby County Juvenile Court won't make you pay.
I was down there in handcuffs and chains.
Over the years, Edward Bowdery had his driver's license stripped and once even found himself in handcuffs over child support payments for a child that's not his.
I would hate to see somebody else go through the same thing. I've been going through this. I mean, headaches.
This mound of paperwork shows a juvenile court judge ordered him to pay child support even before the birth.
I didn't do a voluntary acknowledgement. I didn't sign the birth certificate. All I know is we legitimated the child in your name.
Bowdery asked several judges during several hearings for a DNA test, but no judge ordered one.
I said, how did I even get put on child support? And I never said this was my child. And they said, again, this is not what we're here for.
In 2009, he took the child himself to get a DNA test and found the son he'd supported for years was not biologically his. He took the documentation to court. The judge wouldn't accept it, but ordered a new DNA test done that showed the same results. Probability of paternity, 0%.
They never did do what they were originally supposed to do, which was give me the opportunity to take a DNA test. I was just a voice not being heard, so I guess I needed a choir.
Juvenile Court Magistrate Nancy Kessler agreed in October to allow Bowdery to disestablish paternity, but only after, he says, she admonished him for taking it this far.
The judge stated that, well, I find it very distasteful that you're bastardizing a child.
The judge stopped the child support going forward, but Bowdery still has to pay $460 a month to the mother in back pay. He doesn't believe he should have to pay anything. In fact, he believes someone owes him money, the $30,000 he's already paid. Administrators at Juvenile Court denied our request for an interview on this case, saying it's not appropriate to comment about rulings. What are the chances of him getting his money back?
It is very unusual and very infrequent.
Family lawyer Miles Mason says in a similar case, the Tennessee Supreme Court ruled a man in Middle Tennessee could sue his ex-wife for fraud. He got a $100,000 judgment.
There was a very large judgment awarded against the mother, but I doubt it would be likely that they would be able to collect in most cases.
This bill is simple, that a person who is proven not to be the biological father.
State Representative G.A. Hardaway says he's heard from a number of fathers in his district who were like Bowdery. He introduced a bill letting them file civil lawsuits against the biological fathers, but it never made it out of committee.
To a degree, justice needs to be served. I think it needs to be a totally different, a new law or something.
The question many people might ask, why is Bowdery still paying back pay to the child's mother? Well, we're told by law the new judge he's dealing with can't undo another judge's ruling. For the On Your Side investigators, Stephanie Skurlock, WREG News, Channel 3.
Family lawyers say if you're not married, get a court order declaring that you're the father, and as part of that order, get a DNA test. Don't wait. If you wait, you can wake up owing tens of thousands of dollars before you know it.
Amazing.